So before we start, I just want to do some thanks. Massive thanks to my sponsors. I'm shit at remembering, so I'll check my list. Main sponsor was Red River Competitions. Big thanks to mate Dave Millward there. He bailed us out on my wedding a few years ago when he was running the pub down at Home Rook where I had my wedding. And he's coming and sponsored my show there, so thanks very, very much for that, mate. Obviously, Craig Ironkiller, who worked with OnC's Strongest Man. He's made all the kit and helped us with loads of little bits. So massive thanks to Ironkiller. My pal Steve at McBride Mass sponsored me last couple of shows as well, thanks to them. And my old pal Lee Butts for Extreme Fitness, our old pal. So thanks very much to them. Obviously, massive thanks to all my mates as well that pull in, help us with little bits here and there. The missus for putting up with us as always, because we've just been saying she's the luckiest lass in Cumbria, but that probably does come at a little bit of a price. But the biggest thanks have got to go to Honest of Mine, because they've been absolutely unreal. Honestly, when people come to this show on Saturday and when they see the setup and they see just how fucking unbelievable it looks, they'll appreciate them exactly what the Mine have done for us. You couldn't put a price on the kit they've made. You know, the kit that, and we'll get into the kit. But the amount of effort they've put in, how on board they've been with it, you know, the soap for it. You know, they were talking to me the other day about how big we can make it in 5 years. So they're right, you know, they're thinking exactly the same as me. Brilliant team of folk, great fun to work with. They're a right fucking laugh. Had a great night up there the other week when we did some fires and filmed some promo stuff. So massive thanks to them, because obviously there would literally be no show without them. That's me thank yous bit done.
Right. Well, where did it start then? What we was obviously a bit of an outcrop of our interests, the Tour of Scotland and the Cumbria's Strongest Man, is it?
Well, we've been into the Stones for a bit, haven't we? It wasn't really a thing round here, was it, Stone Lifting? I'm trying to make it a thing round here. It's obviously massive in Scotland, isn't it? Like, niche, but a very historical thing, you know. And I was just, I'm always dreaming things up, aren't I? I'm a scale, he says I'm a schemer. Because I'm always just thinking of something to do, you know, like, well, what can I do now? And I was just thinking, you know, I love the lakes and I love Cumbria, and I'm a very passionately proud Cumbrian. And I thought, you know, this time, you're thinking of venues, that Magnus for Magnuson Classic, they had that in some cool places, didn't they? I'm sure they went out somewhere to the sticks when they had that. And I was thinking about the All World Strongest Man. I think Jamie Reeves, I think they did it in Iceland or somewhere. And I thought it was great out in that rugged, fucking wild countryside. And I thought about Honister and how perfect it is as a slate mine for a stone lifting show. And it just all sort of blossomed from there. Obviously, I went and seen them and talked to them. And they were absolutely super up from it, right from the get-go. From the first time I walked in, it was like a done deal. They were really on board, really enthusiastic. I had some great trips up there planning it.
It kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it? I mean, the good thing, obviously, you don't mean to be a salesman, but you somehow attract people's interest. And I think with both Cumbria's Strongest Man and Alwyn and using that facility up there.
Well, that's another pleasant venue, isn't it? That Rivendell's.
Yeah. And now you're convinced Honister, and they've jumped in with both feet. Absolutely tremendous.
Loving it.
And it just arcs back to that sort of tradition, doesn't it? That sometimes gets lost with modernism, and the fact that it looks so rugged.
That's it. It's going to feel absolutely primal, isn't it? It's going to, I think there's that thing with it, you know, so it's going to run into the evening, isn't it? It's going to be lit by fires. There's going to be a lot more fire than there was on the promo video. We've already worked out more plans for more fire. The venue is going to look unbelievable by the time we finish with it. I'm going on Friday. We've got all sorts of plans for just tarting the venue up a little bit. Not that it needs it, because I mean, you can see on the promo videos and on the photos, it looks fucking incredible, doesn't it? Them big standing stones, you know, like it's got that sort of Stonehenge feel, hasn't it? that sort of prehistoric Neolithic man sort of thing. And the fact that it's such a fucking raw, primal feat of strength that they're doing as well. I mean, you're going to see lads really fucking get tested, aren't you? Them carrying stones, the walking stones with the rings, that's fucking horrible to do. The bashing your shins, like the squashing you together. They're offset weights, aren't they? So it's horrible. The buttermere stone is horrible to carry. Beautiful to look at. Horrible to try and carry anywhere. All the stuff is rough and unforgiving. And like I say, when you see people doing the carries for distance with the two sets of stones that you carry, you're going to see people really dig deep, aren't you? You know yourself. You've done strongman. You know how hard it is, and you know what a long carry's like. Having done the anvil at Cumbria's strongest man. That buttermere stone's 31 kilos heavier, and it's hanging down between your legs as well, isn't it? So you're having to walk like a duck walk as well. Do you know what I mean? So that makes it doubly difficult, doesn't it? And like I say, just people are going to have to dig so deep. You will see like raw effort, won't you? People expending every bit of energy they've got.
So this is the first purely stone lifting event in West Cumbria or in Cumbria,
Yeah,
as far as, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've got competitors coming from the UK, haven't you?
Sorry?
Competitors coming from all over the UK.
Coming from all over. We did have a lad coming from Bristol, his Tory's calf. But we have got lads coming from literally all over the country. Originally, I was hoping we get a few Scots lads down, but it's Scotland's strongest stone lifter a couple of days later, and obviously most of them are competing in that. But what we have had, sorry, I know I've mentioned it to you and a few of the other lads. I've had lads from America, Chennai in India, which has got like a really popular stone lifting culture, hasn't it? Belgium, Finland, and Iceland all get in touch about competing next year. So I think next year it will be like a proper international event, and hopefully have lads from 3 continents on it. The Indian lad, he's just been over and lifted the Dinnies. And he messaged a couple of weeks ago and said, this next year he'd like to come over and do King of the Styans. So that's awesome that, he came over and done something as historic and as big in stone lifting as the Dinnies. And now he's wanting to come over and do this. That's fucking awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
From America actually wants to come from America just to do it. But it's the setting again, isn't it? Like where else? You look at most, and strongman's an awesome sport, but most strongman comps, a lot of them, unless it's like the big Giants Live stuff, they're just outside gyms and stuff like that. They're in car parks and that. The Giants Live stuff, it's just in a stadium, kind of bog standard for a sporting event, that isn't it? This is something completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You can't read it's a slate mine in the middle of the mountains. What can compete with that? For what we are doing? Think of the tough work in that mine. All the lads that pump slate about for a living, day in, day out. And I love the fact that it's a little bit in touch with that. I love the fact that the rings on the walking stones, they're actually from the old mine workings. We found them up there. The videos on here, isn't it, on this YouTube. Rushed them out and they cut them off the chains and set them into the stones for us. Brilliant that it's a bit of authentic mine kit. And I mean, they must be fucking ancient. Nobody knows what they were ever off. It was an old set of chains that were found up there. Brilliant that it's like, the stuff's that authentic, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I was just going to say there, they're like, what's the mine? Something like 220-year-old or something like that when they first started digging.
Sure, you've probably looked at that, and I'm up there all the time and I couldn't tell you.
So imagine how life was in West Cumbria like 220 odd years ago. So
I've slept in the huts, haven't I? Me and the lads, when we go camping, we often sleep in the huts that the miners stayed in when they were up there working. And they're the most Spartan buildings you've ever seen. They've got slate beds. The bed made out of slate. That ain't comfy. It ain't warm, it ain't comfy, is it? And that's where they lived. They lived there through the week. I think, as far as I've been told, I think they lived there through the week and went home over the weekend. Because obviously you couldn't trek in and out on foot every morning and every night. So they'd work there all week and live in this little stone hut. Awesome place to have a night's camping with your mates. Living in it all week and working like a slave in that mine, I imagine, must have been awesome. What a life.
when you read them books about the miners in Wigan, they only did an 8 hour shift, but it was 8 hours at the work front. It wasn't like half an hour to get there or to get back. You had your bait there, and then once the whistle blew for your 8 hours, you had to walk, in the mine shaft back to the pit, and then get lifted out again, and then you had to get home, and it was fucking horrendous, really really tough work. Like, so just imagine harking back to those old days, and
Well, again, Cumbria will be in the same all over morning with the coal mines and that.
yeah,
And again, I've got that thing, haven't I? I honestly think that Cumbria as a place, when you look at it, it's very rugged as far as the countryside that goes, isn't it? The weather's bollocks all the time. And we're all either farming or mining stock. Cumbrians should be strong. I honestly think Cumbrians should be strong when you look at our history. Like, we weren't all like working indoors and that, were we? It's not like we were all like people like in London and that 100 years ago. People who were still mining and farming and things like that a lot less than 100 years ago, weren't they? And I think that should run through, shouldn't it? And again, I want everyone to know that Cumbria is strong. I want Cumbria to be synonymous in England with Stonelift and Strongman. I want people to go, yeah, that's where the strong people live in Cumbria. I want everyone to know that.
well, that's a good thing about reintroducing the tradition, isn't it? Doing it up where we're doing it, up at a 220-year-old slate mine, which is good. One thing I like about stone lifting, and we've spoke about it before, is that it's not a universal strength sport. Like, you could get. So I know Martin Leasis was on a similar tour to us, wasn't he, when we were up in Scotland? Obviously, he was picking up the heaviest stones, and he was one of the first to press one, apparently. It's not universal, is it? If you just because you can pick a stone up, it doesn't mean you can carry it like the same distance, or you can't hold it for the longest, or whatever.
There's a lot to it, isn't there? It's like different elements to it. Test a lot of different things, can't you?
The variables are massive, especially given the type of slate that you're using, and the fact that some of it's smooth, some of it's rugged, some of it'll have handles, some of it won't, some of it'll dig into the forearm.
On the shoulder, it's 105 kilos, and it's got lumps and crevices and that all over it. We've had the sharp edges smoothed off, so it isn't going to cut people too much. People still lose a bit of blood on the lug and that. Again, you know about that. But it's such a horrible, awkward, lumpy thing. You can't pick it up in a way where it isn't going to dig into something and hurt. It's very uncomfortable on your lap. It digs in on one edge onto your lap. And it's 105 kilos balanced on a stony edge on your lap. So it's horrible. People won't be on the lap very long. Not like that, they won't. But then, out on your shoulder, it's going to catch on your lug and that. And that's the first event. And you know what, it really will. I think it'll be a good judge, kind of sorting the men from the boys. Who does well on that. Tough event.
5 kilos as well, on an imbalanced stone.
Horrible.
Sharp edges digging into your clavicle and everything else. And
we've seen. Honestly, on your thigh, digging right into the meat of your quad. And Carl said today it was horrible.
Brilliant. Well, we've seen. It's like on the forearms, even just lifting the sort of the more spherical types.
Yeah.
We did in Scotland. They absolutely destroy your forearms, don't they?
Everyone came on with no skin on the forearms. But again, there's bound to be a wee bit of clarity at this. Now that's going to require medical attention, I don't think. But people are definitely going to lose skin off forearms, hands, lugs, like you say, maybe a bit off your collarbone, like all them little bits. No grip tops allowed. None of them sticky t-shirts. They're just all competing in the competition t-shirt.
What's the event?
Well, there's obviously no tacky for any of the events.
So what's the events?
First event, stone to shoulder. So that's 105 kilos to the shoulder, as many times as you can in a minute. And again, take stronger men than me, because I couldn't put it on my shoulder. It's a big, horrible, awkward one. It's got some decent handles, but like I say, it's a very uncomfortable one. Then we've got the fleet with stones. So that's the walking stones with the rings. So 226 kilos combined weight, 119 in one hand and 106 in the other. Slightly uneven sized rings as well, to be carried like a farmer's walk, but it is so much harder than a farmer's. The implements make it so much harder. Then we've got a block press ladder going from 69 kilos to 97 kilos. All very different shapes. One's quite long and narrow. One's like a short square block. One's almost like a big flat square plate almost. So again, tough one. A 97 kilo block overhead. That's no mean feat, is it? Then we've got the Buttermere stone. So that's 163 kilos to be carried in arms for distance. And then we've got a stone run. That runs from, I think the lightest stone's 118 kilos, which is heavier than we originally planned. But obviously the thing is, you are just finding big rocks on the top of a mountain and bringing them back down. So you can't be too exact, can you? So it starts at 118, I think, and goes to a whopping 179, 179 kilos for the final stone onto the platform. There's 5 stones in total. I mean, that's huge, isn't it?
Lift for the final lift of the day, that, isn't it?
Anybody that lifts that at the end of that day, they deserve to be called King of the Stones, don't they? King of the Styans. That's awesome, isn't it? And you want to fucking see it. It's a big. We've seen a lot of big stones. We've lifted a lot of historical stones or attempted them, haven't we? But I mean, this is bigger than any of them. Bigger than any of the ones in Scotland or like that. It's massive. 179. We actually had a corner knocked off it because it was 197. And I was just like, I just knock that corner off and it'll do. And they did. So,
was it in training?
Sorry?
In training?
Training? Sorry?
Has anybody had it in training?
What, the 179? No one's really tried it. Again, it wasn't really finished till back end of last week. I think Scott's had it to his lap, maybe. Carl didn't attempt it because it was a bit, when we went up today, it's a bit close, isn't it? He had a general run about with the other stuff. He had a carrier both for carrying stones. He did a bit of pressing. He loaded all the others. Shouldered the other in a few rounds. Just had a little play, a little familiarised with all the kit and that ready for Saturday. And again, it's like testing it as well. You know, dropping a few of the blocks again, checking that they're all right landing on the floor and that. The floor is perfect because it's not actually a solid floor. It's just all slate chips. So when the big blocks hit it, there's a lot of give. And the slate's actually a lot harder than people think. People think the slate is being brittle. But that's because you get it in like tiles, isn't it? And if you got any stone in a tile shape, it would be brittle, wouldn't it? It's dense as fuck. It's like so fucking dense. It's actually quite strong when it's in a thick lump. Like you'd have to drop it on like another very hard thing, to crack it or something. Unless it had a fault in it. But we think all the stones are pretty good. We're confident in the kit. It's all been tested and scopped about.
How many's coming? How many's competing?
12.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, like I could have probably had more. Like I capped it at 12, and before I've been in touch since. A few guys have pulled out injured. Right. So again, it could have been more. But yeah, we've got 12. I think we've got 4 or 5 coverings. So yeah, it's honestly a great day, like great level of competition. Sort of like there's like a bit of there's a bit of a gap in experience. I've been to some lads. Some lads haven't done many comps. Some lads have been kicking them out for a long time. Some lads are sort of treading into the waters of like an open comp a bit. But it's great experience for them, isn't it? And again, I think for anyone, like they're all getting to compete in a really cool comp, aren't they? It's definitely cooler than most comps on gym car parks and that. It's going to be a cool memory, isn't it?
Brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. I watched the Iceland Strongest Man, or I watched some of the stream because they streamed it live on YouTube, and obviously Thor's at the helm now. And I thought Iceland, it's obviously like the countryside but on steroids.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing country, but they did it outside of Thor's gym, and it's just like a rundown old industrial estate. And I thought, you guys are missing a trick here. You know,
Don't know to
you could.
promote. Don't do they? They're just like put the competition on. They're not thinking of it like they're not thinking of promoting it, making it look good. They're not. They're thinking about having a competition. They're not thinking about putting on a show. Some people have strongman competitions. I think I have strongman shows. I think there's a bit of spectacle at mine. I think it's like there's a bit more for the crowd than that. Music and an MC and all them little bits. It all adds up, doesn't it? Rowan's obviously in action again Saturday night.
How is he?
Is he going to be amongst all that? He's brilliant, isn't he? So, you know, like, again, just little things like that. He's just going to add to it. You know, like, you look at it, the stage is set perfectly now. Honestly, the venue looks unreal. It's going to be all lit up with fires as it gets dark. We've got music and that sorted. Be all that, like, wardrobe and all that, like, all that Viking mood music. We'll have Rowan G'ing everything up. We've just been generally awesome in charge of stuff, won't we? Yeah, it really is going to be a spectacle. And I think, like I say, just everything I hear from people, everything I talk to people, all the opinion you get, everyone seems to think it's awesome. You know, and it's an awesome idea. So I'm hoping that on the back of this, when people actually see it, it's hard with sponsors, isn't it? Sort of selling an idea, saying I'm going to do this and it's going to look awesome and that. And I'm thinking like, yeah. But like, I think when they see it, I think some of the people that said, do you want to sponsor us, and that they knocked us back. I think they'll be thinking, yeah, we should have probably sponsored that, because that's probably like a bit more sort of exciting than most other things.
Yeah, well,
much that's got more in the way of spectacle than what we're going to do.
It's already gathered momentum, hasn't it? It's been mentioned on a couple of international podcasts.
Yeah,
and
podcast in Canada. That was awesome. The fact that it's getting noticed like literally the world, that was unbelievable, isn't it? I didn't expect that so soon. I expected like lads, you know, like in England and in Scotland and that to notice it, British lads, but I wasn't expecting to have like, you know, like the lads from like Iceland and Finland and that. It'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Having some Scandinavian guys over for it. It'd be perfect. The Viking invasion. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's going to be tremendous. I mean, next year, you know, it's limitless, isn't it? What you can do.
Oh, it is absolutely. Well, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that on the back of this, that's how it'll be. Because, like I said, I think it's got huge potential. Of all the events I've ever done, this is the one that I think it's like different. Do you know what I mean? Like, because of the setting, it's like a completely different thing, isn't it? I think it's something that you could really grow. If anybody watches this, either of you, and get in a position to sponsor an absolutely awesome sporting event, honestly, jump on board now. Well, it's cheap. But like I say, honestly, I think like I've got massive belief in it, and I think everybody else has as well. You know, like that you can. Who knows how wide the appeal can be? I think on social media, you know, like I think the amount of views and that it's going to get on things like that. Because even just the promo stuff's had loads. So imagine what the event will be like. But an awesome videographer, awesome photographer. The full thing's brilliant, isn't it? You know, the full team is actually awesome when you look at it now. Lockie's DJ, that's brilliant, isn't it? Because you know he's going to do his bit. Like, say you've got Rowan, like the photo and the video guys are brilliant. The people at the venue are brilliant. You know, like Betty's the medic. Betty's like practically always the medic, isn't she? Just about. So it's like it's the same familiar team all the time working on those events, isn't it now? And I think we've got it all down to the fine art. And I think in that setting, we can make this spectacular. Like,
have you got a guest referee?
Adam Rumney.
Oh, brilliant!
Brilliant, isn't he? Again, you've been refed by Adam, so you know how brilliant he is. Yeah, officials, we've got the best bunch of officials you could have, to be fair. Adam's ref, and he is absolutely brilliant. Do you know what? I think he'd have liked to have competed, and he was like, I'll compete or ref. And I was like, I'll be honest, mate, you're brilliant at refing. And I think he has so much impact as ref. I think he's so good that he makes the show better. I don't think you could get anyone to fill his shoes doing what he does, because I think he was brilliant. Curly is going to be like timekeeping and stuff. Ever efficient and brilliant, isn't he? If we can keep him away from like the pasty fucking things and that. Ben Nick's going to start handling athletes. Just keep everybody sort of on track, let everybody know where they're going and that. Look after them a bit. And Rebecca's scorekeeper, as always, since the games. She's done it ever since then, hasn't she? So she'll do that. And that's it. I've been up there today making plans for the bad weather to keep the kit dry. Got some awesome plans for that, honestly. It's that cool, it'd be almost worth it raining to see the plans go into place. Because again, the venue are brilliant. But I'll keep on the wraps till we get there, in case we need it. And like I said, I'd prefer that we didn't. Because I'd like it to be like proper open air. I want the sunset and that. Plan is for final event to start at 7:10 on sunset on the equinox. That's perfect, isn't it? For an event like that couldn't have felt any better, could it?
Aye, we'll be sacrificing to the old West Cumbrian pagan gods.
Yeah, we're going to catch the tourist on Friday night, wallop him on that big stone table, and cut his heart out with a slate knife, just to make sure he doesn't piss down on Saturday.
So what's the drill with tickets and times and stuff, Dave, for anybody watching this?
There's plenty of tickets left. I appreciate that. Again, not everybody wants to truck out to Honester to watch it. It's a long way, and again, like, if you want to have a few beers, somebody's going to drive and that, haven't they? So there is plenty of tickets if you do want to come. Kick-off, first event will be at 3:00. We'll probably introduce the athletes at 1:45 or something like that. Obviously, athletes and stuff are going to get there a bit earlier. Finish, like I say, plan on finishing at 8:00, I think. Want to finish sort of into the dark, so we can get the fires in that, so it look cool.
There's food and drink there, isn't there?
Yeah. Honestly, the food at Honest is brilliant. It's like a constant high point of all my trips there. The sausage rolls probably aren't doing the cholesterol any good. But yeah, there's food and drink there. The food's brilliant. They've got a bar and stuff as well, so folk that are having a drink, that's cool. There'll be some shelter there as well. Like if it does rain a bit, the cafe and that's going to be open, so there's room for folks to get indoors out of the rain a little bit as well. But I will bring camping chairs, and I'll definitely bring plenty warm stuff to wear. I'll better still don't and buy one of Craig's really cool King of the Storms jumpers from Iron Killer, and then you'll look cool as well. People might think you're part of the show.
Awesome.
That it?
I think that's us, isn't it?